Like the Sivir ban, pretty interesting.
The Leona ban now could be a Nautilus angle here for NONGSHIM, but Nico is up, and it's going to make Widid very upset. But it is one of those range supports that was left. Yeah, I forgot Nautilus was banned in the first phase. Thank you for pointing that out to me, Valdez.
Jhin is just so obvious here.
Yeah,
I'm very surprised they didn't ban this.
I don't really see what else they would have played here. It's not the greatest angle for MF. And Faker's going to get the Akali. And we could have, I was going to mention it earlier, we saw the Jace ban. It is playable in the top lane, but also the Anivia can be played top. They ban the Jace. This is going to force Kingen to make a pretty tough decision here. And he may just opt to play a tank.
A lot of people have picked Anivia into Kingen, actually, who played a lot of top Anivia himself. And, yeah, I mean, still technically flexible between the two.
I like this
Anivia,
because you have so much damage. You have the 2-item spike of the Ezreal. You have the late game Azir. It's going to be a side lane threat as well. And you have Nico for engage. And this Scion is just going to be a brick wall. And it will weather the storm in either.
For game number 1. Here we go, game number 1 starting. It already feels like we're back at the T1 home ground, even though this is just LOL Park. TGT LOL Park hosting a lot of T1 fans today.
I am always excited to watch a T1 game that has high stakes, right? 5-3 right now, just the extra game ahead of NONGSHIM at this moment in time, as we're going to see an aggressive heal. It's going to be a heal trade here, as this would mean so much for NONGSHIM to bounce back if they were able to get this upset win, but also for T1 to continue that streak, move up to 6-3, and really solidify their spot as a top team here in LCK 2026. It was definitely a matchup that people came into thinking T1 will likely win, but we'll wait and see, with NONGSHIM having some over-performances a lot this year already.
Yeah, I feel like NONGSHIM, you know, definitely one of these. Oh, going in for the root, and Lehen sets it up already on a Paze, who is super low. The flashes come through, and Taeun picks up first blood. That's going to be huge for this lane.
We know there's an old adage that we say here on the global broadcast that Paze was a huge contributing factor to Lehen's growth. Or sorry, I said it backwards, but hold on.
Any overstayers?
Yes.
In the bottom lane? Okay, everything's kind of missing, but eventually Taeun just dies. He doesn't have flash, and now the wave's in a rough spot for the NONGSHIM bot lane.
Terry going to shield himself as Paze shows up here. And, you know, Lehens may have contributed a lot to Paze's growth and to his death there with the flash forward into the root, but they stay too long. Owner comes to the bottom side, and it's a trade back. I still think this favors the bottom lane of NONGSHIM. They get the kill onto the Ezreal. Great angle here for Lehens. Paze hopes he can actually fight his way out of it with the barrier there and the flash away, but it is just too much damage. After the root comes through, the guaranteed empower comes in. Taeun here, they do not have vision in the river at all, and just does not expect this. Great sidestep, but ultimately, it's not enough.
Yeah, not much you can do in that position, but we're going to have to wait and see how that does treat the bottom lane of NONGSHIM. They are ahead on gold, even though down on CS because of what happened with the lane. As Jarvan is on a 6-game winning streak here. Overall, just 19-14, so not a crazy win rate, but a lot of games played. As Ezreal himself on a 7-game losing streak. And now a gank in a mid lane. Faker is in the Shroud and is Akali, but doesn't seem to have a Shuriken. His backflip doesn't need it at the end of the day.
The Scout does not follow there. Thought perhaps they might look for a little bit more damage and have his Sand Soldiers in the spot to do more to Faker there, and we're happy with the exchange. Faker does not flash though. And Faker avoided with the Shroud that first auto, so prefer stop the red buff from going off. That's annoying.
Yeah, not much you can do about that. Scout just going to go for a back. And he has TP, so it is just fine.
Yeah.
Curious to see what Scout builds as his first item. I do know that you know, I was doing the space with W5D, and he was mentioning how Faker always goes for a very aggressive, damage-focused item build on Azir, which may have led to a lot of his woes in the matchup into Akali, because he still win for, you know, lethal tempo, you know, Nashor's first, just very aggressive DPS build. But you can see that Grasp has been taken here by Scout, and if he goes for the Rocket Belt first, can definitely have a much easier time surviving against the Akali early on.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the thought process behind this Keystone choice, and we'll see if that does come to pass. You get so many stats from that, as we're going to have a bit of a skirmish here around NONGSHIM's side of the jungle. Not really a true skirmish, I suppose. They opt out. Definitely some tension there. King and stop the back. I'm just going to clear this wave. Neither top laner has teleported just yet, but Kingen finds himself in a pretty nice CS lead as a Scion into Anivia. So with this TP, a lot of that will be evened up, but a nice little bit of tempo gained. And Kingen has his ultimate, so doesn't even necessarily have to teleport back to lane.
You can see that Sponge is hanging around down here on the bottom side of the map, waiting for the Scuttle Crab, it looks like, trying to boost his way to level 6. He is
coming bottom.
Yeah.
They want to make something of this, but they're going to have to hold them here for a while.
I feel like they can, especially because Owner's pretty far away. You can see that Owner is coming on over. We do have the heal used early on by Keria, just going to get the root down, but now the Scion and Pays is up against the wall against 4 NONGSHIM members, and eventually it's as simple as that. As the kill does go to Lehens, unfortunately, but a kill's a kill, denies some farm from Pays.
You could see the timing where Owner started coming over. I think Doran probably shared some information like, hey, the Scion isn't back yet. We haven't heard his ultimate yet, and he hasn't TP'd. It looks likely that he might be heading bottom side there, but this immobile Jhin just isn't able to do anything there without more support, and they are able to focus him down. And is going to be, with the back timing here, just going to be a Dragon going over to T1 in exchange. As this is a pretty big lead for Taeun, but it's not the end of the world for T1's composition for the Jhin to be behind like this. So watch this one more time. See Owner's heading over. Keria is going to get zoned away. And unfortunately, the kill here is going to go over to Lehens. Would have felt way better if that went to Taeun or Sponge even.
Yeah, definitely a bit unfortunate, but still a good play. It's something that Kingen has definitely done in the past. A little gank like that on the Scion. Definitely something you want to mix into your play if you do play Scion a lot. As Taeun going to get rooted up here, but we do have Lehens in the minion wave. But Taeun pretty low, still sticking around. That's level 6 now for Pays, who is going to land 2 into Lehens. That's 3. Waiting for the 4th one, going to miss both of those as Faker looks like he went deep for a turret plate, which he did get. But now he doesn't have flash or ult or a health bar or TP.
Got plate gold though, as Taeun and Lehens here with level 6 for Taeun just are teasing the idea of staying for another wave, but Owner is coming down. He knows he has control over the bottom side jungle. It's going to take Sponge a little bit longer to get down here. If they can buy some time though, this could backfire in a big way for T1. True shot wasted.
I think they see Sponge full health, level 6, and they just say, well, we got to respect this as we have Azir coming on over, and now Owner is just going to go in, pulls the trigger on Lehens, says, you are dead, and a bunch of damage already done to Sponge as well. Pays going to flash aggressively here to get to Owner, but now Scout a little bit isolated, and Faker's making his way over. Scout in a lot of trouble, gets knocked up, does flash the root, but now Sponge isolated, and he gets executed by Faker, and T1 turned this into a big fight for them.
That's such a great play from Owner. That flash there it allows him to secure a kill as well as then buy the additional space for the Akali to show up, and while the rest of the team is getting corralled away, pushed away, the Azir then gets left out to dry. So this flash here from Owner, phenomenal. Gets the Crescent Guard up, guarantees that he will survive here. Sponge is now on the left side of the fight without really any tools, and then Scout is unfortunately without really any damage at this point, unable to secure anything here, gets knocked up, forced to flash away. Sponge left out to dry. Really, really painful here for NONGSHIM because the initial setup was great. They had their jungler coming down. They were able to save the wave there. Or rather, wait for the wave there and kind of bait the idea of it as Sponge was coming over, but ultimately backfires in a huge way. And now Faker is the one with the gold lead in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's going to feel really nice. He has a gold lead. We've got Owner very far ahead, 2 kills. He is ahead on XP by a decent margin, on top of all that gold that he did get. And we know what Owner can do with leads on Xinjiao. And yeah, now even this bottom lane doesn't feel quite as good. See Pays and Keria getting a decent amount of damage into Lehens. And Sponge had flash, by the way, in that play. He could have flashed the Shuriken. Even if his flag drag was, you know, a couple seconds away, just didn't respect the damage of Faker just yet. You know, and Akali without a first item, it's a bit understandable, but at the same time, if he just flashes it, that's 1 kill less that you give over to T1.
Yeah, I think maybe the thought process there for Sponge is I want to have my flash for the upcoming fight. I want to continue to be aggressive bottom side. I want to try to shut down this Karma Jhin lane even further because that's where they have the advantage right now. And perhaps just holding the flash there instead of risking it as Faker's
It's going to be pushed in. Does have the backflip, but Lehens is coming on over. As Faker says, well, might just try to go in on this one. He does have his perfect execution. He's just running away from Lehens for now, and he dodges the roots and eventually just gets killed by Lehens. As a nice little gank from Lehens into the mid lane as Faker over-aggressive there.
The bottom side of the map, I think Owner wanted to try to turn this into something with Lehens being mid, obviously roaming, missing here in the bottom lane, but isn't able to turn it into anything as Sponge shows up. Has his Cataclysm available. Top side, we did see Kingen ult Doran and got some grasp stacks, but it won't amount to too much. Scout gonna nicely dodge this. And Faker's lead diminishes a little bit, but he's still got a significant one over Scout. It's the bottom lane, especially now with Lehens picking up 2 kills in this game, where things are really looking quite nice. As Faker is very aggressive here, Scout has the angle to punish here, even with the Shroud. And Faker does not expect Lehens to come up here. They're trying to set up a dive on the bottom side at the same time, so there's any chance that either the support or jungler could be mid here for T1. It's a really nice angle there that Lehens is able to find, but Scout sets it up.
Yeah, and you're talking about that dive in the bottom lane. Looks like once they saw Sponge, they kind of just backed away, which definitely the right call, especially with what was going on in the mid lane.
Faker trying to play around Scout's ult still being down here, but takes a lot of damage back. As it is looking like a Leandri's first here for Sponge, or for Scout, excuse me. And put a lot of damage into Faker. Looking for a second dragon now, double dragon here for T1. Would be pretty strong, especially considering the Ocean is already off the cards.
For pick potential, Hextech Soul always needs to be mentioned, especially with the Jhin in this composition. Could be really nice for setting up individual walls and stuff. It's just going to be Mountain Soul, which still very good, especially when you've got, you know, Akali and Xinjiao in melee range. Going to be a lot of shielding on the side of T1 if they can pick it up alongside of the Karma.
Sion going to love it, of course, as well as the Jarvan for the side of NONGSHIM. But they are significantly far behind in Dragons. But if you start to stack all of those resistances from the solo individual elemental dragons before you get to the soul, it could be even stronger. The tide of the game will have to shift. And it is interesting that despite having control of the bottom lane a lot of the time here and having that lead down there, they did not get any dragons. The Sponge is in trouble.
Boy. Yeah, now he's going to flash away. He's going to be happy that he has that now, but even just the fact that he was standing near Owner, not respecting the amount of damage, not respecting how ahead he is. I mean, they're on the same amount of items at this point in time, but Owner very strong with the help of Faker. And now Taeyeon going to be pushed away, and Owner once again is in their jungle after pushing Sponge away, and this is becoming a bit of a snowball-y problem for NONGSHIM.
Great root might buy some time here for Sponge to get over. He needs to rush over. Taeyeon completed his back, though.
Lehens has flash. He's going to use it to predict there from Pays doesn't land, but the shot will. As now Sponge at least able to get away from the curtains being opened up, and the entire jungle is just being taken away.
With the commitment of the back there from Taeyeon, it was going to be really tough for Sponge to come over and save the play. But T1 played it really well there, and it ends up being a big backfire on the stay there, and Lehens is punished. Also now down flash. Watching this matchup does not feel very exciting for anyone, so I'm glad we're going to pan away.
Yeah. Neither of them has skill pressure. Even if the Sion got the egg, if he's alone, like, I don't think he's killing that egg. So at the end of the day, unless Doran was extremely overextended, I don't think Kingen can kill him. And then same thing for Doran against the Radiance here from Kingen.
With these thin margins, you know, in the mid and bottom lanes, junglers aren't really interested in impacting that top lane at all. All the action is happening really around the red buff of NONGSHIM this game, with the Karma lane's pressure and prio there, the dives have been up. Scout loses his gold lead, and so does Taeun. In fact, after that last play on the bottom side, it's an edge here for FaZe that is picked up. Angry Sion.
Yeah. Faker taking a bunch of damage, but just doesn't care because, again, Sion no kill pressure there, especially into Akali. As they're trying to set something up here, they're just trying to play around Owner as much as possible. RT1, the root comes in, the Pop Blossom is there, but Lehen's no flash means he just takes a 4th shot to the face. Taeun also getting poked away. Sponge, same story for him. They just can't even exist against the 3 of T1 right now.
They're going to thin this wave out, but it's still pretty hefty here. T1 whittling down this turret. They're going in!
Yeah, they're going in. I'm not sure what Sponge was thinking there, just sticking around, just dies. And now Taeun trying to get something back. Does a lot of damage to Flex, but he had barrier! And you gotta know about that. Taeun sees blood in the water, and instead, the blood is his.
Man, you see that barrier pop, the life comes out of your face. You know, you forgot about barrier, you forgot about FaZe's D key. He's gonna press it. And man, that hurts. Because you hit that W, you always want to go in that type of situation. You're like, oh, he's so low, I've got the damage. But the barrier denies it. Great reaction there from FaZe to shut that down. And things go from bad to worse here for NONGSHIM in this mid game. I want to watch Sponge again here. So use his flag and drag here. A little bit of time buy from Lehen's. And then as the wave comes through moments later, he decides to go in. And I'm not 100% sure.
He's so low.
Yeah, he's at half health.
Faker got the solo kill on a scout. So we didn't quite get to see that, but I'm sure we'll see a replay, especially with what's going on recently. And Owner just going to take this Rift Herald. Looks like, again, they cannot challenge them.
This is really just falling apart here completely for NONGSHIM right now. The Azir significantly far behind. The Ezreal seems like that second item is just not going to hit at the spike they wanted. The Akali is already starting to become a threat. And this Anivia is just going to be permanent wave clear, zoning, and extra power around the map. We'll also get some additional levels as we'll see what happens here.
Reading for the cannon.
And he misses the ultimate. This is why Akali's so good in this matchup, because as Azir, you're like, in most situations, you're like, I'll just push them away. And Akali's like, no. You're dead.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that she's so mobile and she can avoid your soldiers, it's just so annoying to hit this champ when you're Azir.
Not only do you not get hit by the Divide, but also you get kind of a free shuriken onto him because he's standing still while the Divide is coming in. So it's like, well, if you time it right, it feels very good. They're trying to dive Doran, which is not easy. And they might be able to get his egg. Shield comes in from Keria, as now here comes the Sion. There's the egg. I think eventually with Scout here, should be easy pickings.
Lehen's is a kill thief this game. Gets a third one. At least they are able to secure the kill, get the egg, which is a win in itself. And
meanwhile,
yeah, Faker's getting this turret. It'll be their second of the game. This isn't even first brick here for NONGSHIM.
They got the Mountain Drake Soul point as well. That's their third Drake now. And T1 are just kind of running away with this game. NONGSHIM not really showing a lot of resistance so far.
Yeah, really not. They do get the turret. It's a lot of money to scout, but the money is traded on the opposite side. And Doran, I think he's pretty happy with dying for this because of the exchange they get on the other side. And this is just what T1 do really well, right? They know how to play both sides of the map. They know where their weak point is, and they try to exploit the opposite side of the map. Doran can buy so much time. And even with Keria, like Keria came over there, he might have been able to get away in another circumstance, but so much had to be committed to kill him. And the kill goes over to the Nico anyways. It's just not a good time for NONGSHIM right now. And because the game state is so T1 favored, this Akali is potentially going to start running away with the game. This Jhin is so big. I just don't know if we can have a conversation about the scaling front to back here anymore.
Yeah. That's really what you're looking for if you are NONGSHIM. It's like, okay, you've got Azir and Ezreal. Maybe when we hit 2-3 items for this combo, along with our very tanky Sion, great engage with Jarvan and Nico. Like, on paper, it's good, as they're just going to face check at T1, and that's going to be the end of at least Keria. Is now Owner, almost unkillable, it feels like, in the Cataclysm, getting a lot of value out of his Crescent Guard, so it's only going to be the support that NONGSHIM do get.
Yeah, it looked like it could have been a lot worse there. Owner didn't have Flash, just got it back, so it is going to be fine for him. Doran's got a big push in the bottom lane. Does have TP as
Yeah, they get the slow, and that's the Flash Slam. The follow-up not really there. Meanwhile, Lehen's in a bit of trouble, as Zerkin's going to land on him, and Faker takes him out. Once again, we're being treated to Faker's Akali, as he's kind of just walking behind enemy lines. He gets his Shroud back, and he waits for the slam, goes back in, Taeun super low. Faker wants that kill, and he does get it. And he will have to pay for it, but that just means the rest of T1 is here to clean up the kills. NONGSHIM once again over-indexing into the 1 kill. And it's not going to work out for them, as Scout, no dash, and is in a lot of trouble. As the stun does land, the root is there as well, and Doran picks up the kill with the Icicle. And T1, I mean, almost feels like it's all over but the crying here for NONGSHIM.
Yeah, bit of a disaster for NONGSHIM, frankly, is okay. Yeah. All right. He will get an additional charge here as well. When the opt-in happens to look for that pick, you're giving T1 such an insane opportunity to get a skirmish that they didn't even they didn't even necessarily have any idea they were looking for, and they were just like, okay, I guess we'll turn this one. As this initially was pretty expensive here to try to catch Owner, and then Lehen's is caught initially. And the worst of this is, like, in the meanwhile, like, they're messing up the engage onto Pays, like, everything was missed from Taeun. Lehen's flash is here when Faker has his activation of his ultimate to take him out, so that's just a summoner down for further fights. At this point, you're like, okay, we gotta get Faker right, but this staying so long, giving the opportunity here for the rest of T1 to rotate over. They have Herald for team fighting, is just a bridge too far. Not to mention the fact that Scout's TP was at an angle to where he couldn't join immediately.
Yeah. I think that's really the main issue. Like, maybe if they have Scout there from the beginning. I mean, they're already so far behind, so it feels like desperation out of them, but you're not going to win a fight if Scout's not there from the beginning actually DPSing. Taeun can't do it alone, as he only now hits his 2-item spike. And it was already kind of a desperate fight to begin with. And now, I mean, a minute away from Mountain Soul already. T1 have been stacking the Drakes very early on. And there really hasn't been an answer from NONGSHIM. They only got the 3 grubs, but they have not been able to side lane push at all.
Such a classic T1 game. And they had bottom prio. Owner set it up. He's 10 out of 14 KP in this game. And you start to wonder, like, you know, what could have been with this NONGSHIM comp, what could have been with this Ezreal pick if they had played it a little bit better, if they had played it a little bit safer at times. But we'll probably never know. 7,000 gold behind against this team that is looking for, as you say, a very early, I mean, we're at 22.5 minutes when this dragon spawns. Soul here, which makes it even more difficult for NONGSHIM to play from behind.
Yeah, NONGSHIM just grouping in bot, trying to get a push in one lane so they can group up and push into the objective, but their mid lane is in tatters right now, so the fact that they didn't elect to go through mid lane, definitely a bit of an issue. They're trying to go for an Akali now who has Rocket Belt. That's not really going to work. Yes, Faker did not have Flash, so that was the angle they were looking for. Kingen is slamming a bush over to the right side while this Drake is just going down. Sponge, half health. It goes to 1 health, the Dragon. And Sponge's going to get rooted up. He's in a lot of trouble as now the engage from the hands, but it's just kind of half-hearted as Faker in the back line just eating them for lunch. As now Scout's nowhere for him to run, although he does get away, funnily enough. Faker going very deep there and does pay the price. Pays picks up a double kill. But really the important part is that T1 got Mountain Soul.
And as you can see here, Taeun is struggling to get through those shields. Scout will leave him behind. He gets away, but you know, the prize was already gained. It was such a sloppy setup here for NONGSHIM. Like, Kingen was off on the edge trying to prevent Faker from joining, but they go in half-heartedly to look for a contest of the Dragon and put themselves in such bad position. Look at Pays. He can do no wrong here, and Lehen's is just trying to peel for their exit. Faker having a statement game on this Akali. Does go a bit deep here, disrespecting the damage there from Taeun and the Sand Soldier setup, but T1 get more than just the Dragon. They get several kills, two of them going over to Pays in the team fight. He is now 7-2.
Yeah, also at least Faker got the flash at a scout, so it's like, yeah, he dies, but they're so far ahead at this point, so the gold doesn't really matter. And getting a summoner out of scout before a potential Baron is still going to be pretty huge. As it does look like they might want to go for this Baron. Faker's in bot with TP. And Doran has TP as well. Flash forward from Carrier trying to get the root to stick. Yeah, it does not.
It would have been Baron if potentially it does, so... I mean, even still, you got the flash committed there, but you get, like, it's an exchange where flash doesn't, get you any kills, but it gets you so much space on Baron. And this is where NONGSHIM have to now kind of face check a little bit and try to group, because T1 especially so known to do these Barons in these types of situations. Faker has TP. His flash just came back up as well. But it looks like they've got their eyes on the champions.
Yeah, Owner just going forward. He's got a Karma behind him. He's level 14. Does not care. The flash forward with the knock-up. Taeyun now chunked out significantly.
I think maybe Baron is finally on the cards here for T1 with all the damage they just did. Doran sitting at, a decent amount of mana, enough to really impact this Baron take here on the Anivia. Thanks for the extra damage, Taeyun, says T1 probably. As they're going to commit the TP here, and they are going to look for a contest, but they have no setup here. Kingen on the flank.
Yeah, also, if T1 really want to, they can just pull off the Baron, as Pays is going into no man's land. He did not join the team, as he was apparently on the wrong side of that fight. Did have to flash, but they get the TP out of Scout now.
They didn't have Crescent Guard, which is something I kind of hadn't really considered in terms of the turn. Without that, it's really difficult to actually drop Baron and look for the fight. Instead, they just opt to drop Baron and back away and not give NONGSHIM any in this game. Because stopping Baron and walking away doesn't mean that NONGSHIM get Baron. It doesn't mean you lose anything on the map. And you were already sitting on such a huge lead with Mountain Soul in tow. You're now thinking about the only way this goes wrong is if we toss on Baron, right? Throw that away or lose Elder somehow, miraculously. So we just have to prevent those two things. And step one is not taking that Baron fight without Crescent Guard.
Yeah, definitely a good call. We do have 3 items now for Taeyun, so maybe they say, okay, well, we've got an okay fed Ezreal. He's nowhere near Pays, don't get me wrong, but at least he's got some items and he can do some decent damage.
Endless Hunger can be quite potent if you have a longer fight and you are hitting all your abilities, as we've seen in the past. It's a really big spike for Ezreal, but it's, so premeditated on having the setup that it's hard to imagine NONGSHIM will ever get.
Little root here on a Kingen, who's kind of in no man's land himself. He's able to charge into a wall and try to get over to his team. There's a flash out of him, but the chase is on from T1. Not going to over-chase into the Scion, though, but here come the curtains. Sponge going to be slowed up. Has to flag drag away. Takes a huge amount of damage as now. Faker thinking about it. Goes in for the execution. Sponge, or rather Scout, meanwhile, just dies himself as he got rooted up by, I believe, Carrier. Or stunned by Doran, one of those things, as had to stick around and immediately died afterwards. That's 2 picks, and T1 are now looking at the Baron.
Looks like this time they'll get it for real, as Faker's going to head to the bottom lane and try to take out the last part of that turret before he does TP in if there is a contest. And Kingen here is just trying to control a jungle that has no relevance in this game. With no dragon here, Soul already taken, Elder moments away. It feels like T1 were doing the right call here and getting vision, doing all the set they need on the bottom side of the map to make sure they have total control. And NONGSHIM were trying to contest it when they had, well, I say NONGSHIM, it was Kingen who was trying to set up for a potential contest of said vision that backfired in a massive way.
Trying to get Faker here, and he is going to get knocked up, but guess who's there to back him up? It's Carrier and Pays. And they just get him to safety. NONGSHIM trying to do whatever they can to try to collapse on Faker.
And they got the Baron, like they pulled off the Baron so early, just left Owner on it, so he's able to finish it off to back Faker up and be there, like you're saying, all those members of T1 that were there to make sure he does not get caught or killed. It's just a really clean map play here from T1, and now they could use this Baron for about 30 seconds here to gain and maintain prio on the Elder Dragon, which is really the final step left for them to get Exodia in this game. And they have 4 dragons, Soul, they have Baron, they get this Elder, and the game couldn't be more over about this. I mean, it's pretty over, but T1 are really doing everything.
Maybe trying to bait Owner in if I give him the benefit of the doubt. Meanwhile, Owner's like, yeah, I welcome it. I will jump into 4 people right now. As the Crescent Guard is over, the ult goes in. A Faker, he's pretty low, but he has his Shroud still. able to get away with the help of Keria, as it's not exactly the cleanest damage from T1.
This is really awkward for them to lose all this health right before Elder. Paze is pushing mid.
Sponge might just die here. That's the jungler of NONGSHIM dead. And now he got scalped by his Lonesome on the top side of the map. And he will eventually go down. Faker's like, I guess I'll clean him up. Meanwhile, we do have, looks like Doran just tanking everything on the bottom side. He's actually pretty tanky, and they say, we don't need the Elder, we just need to kill them. And that they do, as T1 look to end this game.
That was a fantastic ultimate from King and all of the chaos there, but ultimately it's not enough. And even with those low health bars from T1, it feels like everybody's got a GA in this one. Between Owner having the egg there from the Anivia, Paze being so far away, being so safe inherently. And that is just the end of the game. T1 will win it sub 30 minutes. They made sure